Once, in a kingdom nestled between the mountains and the sea, lived a king and a queen who had everything they could ever wish for, except for one thing: a child. After many years, their wish was granted, and a beautiful baby princess was born. The king was so overjoyed that he planned a celebration for the entire kingdom. He invited everyone, from the highest nobles to the humblest farmers. He also invited all the good and wise fairies of the land to come and bestow their gifts upon the child. But in his joyful haste, he forgot one person. He forgot his sister, Princess Glumina. Glumina was not an evil woman, but she was a very sad and bitter one. She lived all alone in a shadowy castle in the marshes, and she had long ago forgotten what joy felt like. She was jealous of her brother's happiness, and when she heard of the celebration she had not been invited to, her sadness turned to a cold, sharp anger. On the day of the celebration, the great hall was full of sunlight and laughter. One by one, the good fairies stepped forward. "I give the princess the gift of beauty," said the first. "I give her the gift of a beautiful voice," said the second. "I give her the gift of," the third began. But a cold wind suddenly swept through the hall, blowing out the candles and silencing the music. Princess Glumina stood in the doorway, wrapped in shadows. "Brother," she hissed, her voice like cracking ice. "You are celebrating a new life, but you have forgotten mine. You have forgotten the sister who shares your blood. You wish her a life full of joy, do you? Then I shall give her a gift of my own." She pointed a long, pale finger at the cradle. "This child will have no gravity. She will never feel the weight of the world, or the pull of the earth. She will laugh at good news and bad. She will float, and she will never know the weight of a single tear." With a swirl of shadows, she was gone. The king and queen rushed to the cradle. The baby was gurgling and floating 6 inches above her pillows. The queen tried to hold her, but the princess felt as light as a handful of feathers. The last fairy, who had not yet given her gift, stepped forward. "I cannot undo this curse," she said sadly, "but I can add a hope. The spell will be broken if she can find a way to cry." The princess, whom they named Aira, grew up. She was beautiful, and she sang like a bird, but the curse held true. She had no gravity. She floated. Nurses had to sew small weights into the hems of her dresses just to keep her from drifting up to the ceiling. She could not run or jump. She could only bound through the air in long, light leaps. But the worst part was her heart. She could not feel sadness. She could not feel deep love. When her mother cried, Aira laughed, a light tinkling sound, because she could not understand why anyone would ever be sad. When her father scolded her, she found it terribly funny. "She is like a beautiful, empty balloon," the queen wept. "She doesn't understand us. She doesn't feel what we feel." The only thing that helped was the wind. Princess Aira loved the wind. On breezy days, she would float outside, letting the wind toss her about like a kite. It was the only time she felt truly alive, but it was a wild, careless feeling. The king and queen tried everything. They took her to the wisest doctors, who prescribed heavy foods and serious books, but nothing worked. One day, Aira was floating in the meadows, chasing a butterfly. She drifted farther than she ever had before, deep into the royal forest, until she came to a hidden, quiet grove. In the center was a sparkling lake she had never seen. She floated out over the water, curious. A small gust of wind pushed her down, and she splashed right into the lake. And the most magical thing happened. The moment she was in the water, she stopped floating. She felt solid. She could kick her legs and move. She could dive and swirl and swim. For the first time in her life, she felt grounded. She felt real. The lake became her secret. Every day, she would sneak away to swim. In the water, she felt calm and thoughtful. She wasn't just a giggling, floating thing. She was herself. One afternoon, a prince from the neighboring kingdom, Prince Valen, was riding through the forest. He had heard the strange stories of the Light Princess, but he was a practical man who did not believe in curses. He heard a lovely, clear voice singing and followed the sound. He found Aira swimming in the lake. He had never seen anyone swim with such joy. "Hello," he called. Aira swam to the shore. "Hello, you are not supposed to be here. This is my secret place." "My apologies," Valen said, charmed by her. "I am Prince Valen." They began to talk. In the water, Aira was not the giggling, empty princess he had heard about. She was witty and smart, and she asked him 100 questions about the world. He told her of his travels, and she told him about the stars. Prince Valen visited her every day. He was falling in love with the girl in the lake. One day, he said, "Aira, I have never met anyone like you. Please show me more of your forest." "Of course," she said, and she happily swam to the bank and climbed out. The moment she was dry, whoosh, the curse took hold. She floated right up off the ground and drifted sideways, landing gently in the branches of a willow tree. Prince Valen stared, his mouth open. Aira burst into peals of laughter. "Oh, isn't this silly? Look at me, I am stuck in a tree." The prince did not laugh. He saw her, dangling like a puppet, and for the first time, he understood her tragedy. "No," he said gently. "It is not silly at all." He climbed the tree, carefully untangled her, and held her hand to keep her from floating away. "I have heard the stories," he said, "but I did not understand. In the water, you are you. On the land, the curse still has you." "Oh, it's not so bad," she said, though her laugh sounded a little less certain. "I will love you on the land," Valen said, "and I will love you in the water, and I will find a way to break this spell." Their happiness was so bright that it sent a ray of light all the way to the shadowy marshes. Princess Gloomina felt it, and it made her angrier than ever. "He found her happiness, did she?" she snarled. "She loves that lake? Then she shall lose that lake." Gloomina went to the high hills above the lake. With her cold, shadowy magic, she opened a great crack in the earth at the bottom of the lake. It became a magical drain, a whirlpool that began to pull the water down, down, down into the earth. Aira was on the shore, about to jump in. She saw the whirlpool begin. She watched in horror as the water level began to drop, pulling the lily pads and fish with it. "No! My water! It's leaving!" she shrieked. But it came out as a high, panicked laugh. "It's going away! Stop! Stop!" She was terrified, but the curse would not let her feel it properly. She just floated helplessly above the mud, laughing and sobbing without any tears. At that moment, Prince Valen arrived. He saw the lake disappearing and Aira floating above it, hysterical. He looked at the whirlpool and knew, instantly, that it was dark magic. He knew what he had to do. "Aira, I will stop it," he yelled. He dove into the churning water. He swam against the current, deeper and deeper, to the center of the drain. The water was icy cold, and the magical pull was enormous. He saw the rift at the bottom. He knew that only a great sacrifice, a heart full of true love, could plug a magical drain made of pure spite. "I do this for her," he thought, "so she can be free." He took a deep breath and plunged down, forcing his body over the rift. The draining slowed. The whirlpool calmed. The water stopped pulling. but the cold, dark magic of the drain flowed into him. It was too cold. He grew still. His body, pale and quiet, floated gently to the surface of the half-empty lake. Aira floated over the water. She saw Valen, so still. Valen, get up. The joke is over. It's not funny. She drifted down until her feet touched the muddy bank. He didn't move. Wake up and swim with me, she pleaded, her voice trembling. She reached out and touched his cheek. It was cold as ice, and for the first time in her life, a feeling she had never known rushed through her. It was heavy. It was awful. It was sadness. It was loss. A great crushing weight filled her chest, as if she were full of stones. Thud. Her feet sank into the mud. She was standing. She was no longer floating. She looked at Valen, her prince, who had saved her lake at such a great cost. He was truly gone. A tear, the first real tear of her life, welled up in her eye. It was heavy and hot. It fell, then another, and another. They splashed onto the prince's cold face. The moment the first tear touched him, the good fairy's magic was fulfilled. The curse was broken. The tear, full of love and true gravity, shattered Gloomina's cold spell. A warm light spread through Valen. Color returned to his cheeks. His eyes fluttered open. Aira, he whispered. You're standing. And you're awake, she cried, and this time her tears were of pure joy. She rushed to him, holding him, and she was as solid and real as the earth beneath her. They returned to the castle, and when the king and queen saw their daughter walk into the hall, they wept with joy. And when Aira wept with them, they knew she was finally whole. As for Princess Gloomina, when her spell was broken by such a powerful love, all her coldness and bitterness rushed back to her, and she simply faded away like a bad dream at sunrise. And Princess Aira, who finally knew the weight of joy, ruled the kingdom with Prince Valen, forever grounded by the love that had saved them both.